Alright, so I made a video yesterday about the fact that just talking a little bit about how when you're in a political debate, you have the left who generally just assumes your position on everything, and it's usually pretty much the worst position, and they assume your motives for everything, which is usually the worst motives. And you have the right, which generally understands the left's motives, and they generally don't ascribe most things to the worst possible thing you could ascribe it to. But I wanted to make this video that we have a very good example that basically just is an example to prove my point. In that Bernie Sanders came out yesterday and tweeted, um, quote, Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in U.S. history. He's racist, sexist, homophobe, xenophobe, and religious bigot. He betrayed the working class to further enrich the wealthy. And then he says, our campaign is the best to defeat Trump because it's rooted in human solidarity. Um, and the first thing I would point out is that, number one, when has Trump ever done anything that's racist? I mean, they'll point to the immigration, but that's not racist to say that you want to have border security and at least um, somewhat of a system to where just anybody can't come. And I think it's very fair to say that when you look at it from an objective perspective, the side that says literally anybody should be able to come for any reason is more out there than the side that says let's at least have a wall so that just anybody can't come, and let's make it to where you at least need to have a good reason to come, whether that's you're a legitimate refugee or you're a legitimate immigrant. I mean, I don't even think it's close, but if you want to say it's close, that's fine. But if you think that the Democrats' modern position on immigration is less crazy than the Republicans, namely Trump, then I don't have words for you. Um, Sexist, again, when has Trump ever done anything that's sexist? No one's ever accused him credibly of anything that's sexist. And almost everything that he's been accused of, the other persons came out and been completely disproven. So, in other words, people have this. You'll see people on the left. You have this idea of people on the right, and obviously there's exceptions to this. I know the first thing someone on the left would point out generally, or they may point it out. They're probably not even smart enough to recognize it. But oh well, I know a guy who doesn't do this, or I don't do this, and obviously there's exceptions, but just because there's exceptions to rules, again, doesn't mean that the rules don't exist. There are people who smoke their whole life who don't have complications from smoking. That doesn't mean that smoking is okay or not unhealthy. So, again, when has Trump ever done anything that's homophobic? He actually has been pushing countries in, namely Africa and the Middle East, to loosen their gay marriage laws or rules. Again, Obama did absolutely nothing for that, but is anyone accusing Obama of being a homophobe? Xenophobe, same thing. Religious bigot. Is Trump really more religious than some presidents of the past? Like, I mean, I follow him on Twitter. I hardly ever see him tweet anything as to do with religion. Again, this just falls into the further thing that when you're on the left, you just assume and you just keep repeating over and over and over that everyone on the right, they're right again. You can just cite this tweet. They're every bad name in the book, and the reason they do that is because they can't win the argument, right? Like if the left actually understood the right and how to win elections, how you win elections is generally you swing people that are in the middle or generally vote opposite your position to vote for you. That's generally how you win elections. Like Trump won because he won the Rust Belt, which Obama did very well in, which he completely screwed over and basically gave the election to Trump. But you win by winning places that you generally don't win, right? Because most people are going to vote for whatever side regardless, but you win by trying to swing people from the other side to your side. And if the left understood how to do this correctly, they would do it through argument, right? If you're on the right, especially fiscally, you're there because you understand that leftist economics are BS, right? I mean, perfect example. Open borders. If you're for open borders, which to be fair, Bernie Sanders is, but isn't. But most people, sorry, he isn't. Just to be clear, but most people on the left are, or at least are to the point to where maybe it's not a 100% open border, but they have a policy to where they're not going to do anything to prevent you from coming in the first place. So it's basically an open border. If you have that position, which again probably the overwhelming majority of people on the left do, you don't understand economics in literally the most basic sense of the purpose, and it's for the basic reason of supply and demand. If you increase supply, you have to increase, if demand increases, supply has to increase with it, and obviously vice versa. So if we have an extra 100,000 immigrants coming in for whatever time period, you need to increase the housing supply, you need to increase the food supply, the schools, healthcare, all that stuff. But the left never does that. It's just 100% mainly an emotional argument. And again, anybody who has that position, I wouldn't trust them as far as they can throw them, because they're telling you they don't understand something that you would learn within the first week of an intro to economics class. And I've done those courses. I know that. So, yeah, that's about it as far as this video. I just wanted to bring up that I just made a video about this yesterday, and one of the most prominent politicians on the left in basically the whole world comes out and basically proves that point. Again, if the other thing to mention too is, it is possible Bernie Sanders doesn't actually believe this, but if that's what the case is, then what he's saying is that his audience is so stupid that he can lie to them and they not even notice it. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole that would be arguably even worse than the current rabbit hole that I'm trying to talk about. But another thing too is, I wouldn't take this poll as far as you can throw it either. If the last election didn't mean anything as far as polling goes, I would expect the exact same thing to happen again this time. So, yeah, like I said, the left, and this is the other thing too that I think I didn't mention yet, speaks volumes to this, is that you have, the people that are supposed to be the most knowledgeable, the most experienced, the most intelligent on the left, that still fall into this category. Like, if you can get a guy who's probably is the top 2 or 3 front runner for the Democratic nomination, he still can't even break free from the stereotype that is, again, it's true overwhelmingly, then I think it's very bleak. And I think it's why I made the video and why it's so important, is that you got Bernie Sanders believing in this stuff, or buying into it. Again, he may not even know. I'm guessing honestly, I don't know if he genuinely believes all this stuff. But again, like I said, if he doesn't, then he's just saying that he can lie to his audience and then be too stupid to recognize that he's lying to them. But like I said, long story short, there's no evidence that Trump is any of these things, right? Like, racist, again, just because you disagree with him over immigration doesn't make you a racist. Sexist, again, when has Trump ever done anything that's sexist that's been proven? Never happened. Homophobe, his actions literally could not contradict that anymore. Religious bigot, again, like, the Bushes were more religious than Trump, and no one was accusing them of being a religious zealot or whatever. It makes no sense. And then he betrayed the working class to further enrich the wealthy, which is completely wrong. I know the economy isn't as good as what he claimed, or as what Trump claims it is, but it's still objectively, clearly better than Obama, clearly. And I don't remember Bernie Sanders claiming that Obama betrayed the working class to enrich the wealthy. So it's just this guy's on the other team. I'm going to accuse him of all this stuff and hope it sticks. And it'll stick for most people that support him, but no one that's that is center left, center right, or on the right would look at this and not laugh. So that's about it as far as this video goes. Just wanted to bring that up just because I made a video about it yesterday and wanted to talk about it. So that's it.